Is the Bolt Report. Good news for my fellow Conservatives. We've won. Well, kind of. If you'd once said we had a Prime Minister who was against gay marriage, was for US troops on Australian soil and was for selling uranium to India and was very for America, I'd say you were talking about John Howard.
You might remember that I called him a man of steel. That's Texan for fair dinkum.
But no, we're talking about Julia Gillard, who this week especially was reinventing herself as a Conservative, and it might just save her after all. It's amazing. Julia Gillard was once a student activist and then convener of the Socialist Forum, which included many former communists. She joined Labor's left and as recently as 6 years ago was still complaining that Australia seemed too subservient to the US. We're not little Americans, she said. And of course, as Prime Minister, she signed a marriage deal with the Greens, giving them the carbon dioxide tax in exchange for their vote. Well, selling out to the Greens nearly killed Gillard, but look at the change since that tax was passed. Forget the Greens, forget the left. Gillard now says she wants to overturn Labor's ban on selling uranium to India.
Selling uranium to India will be good for the Australian economy and good for Australian jobs.
She's fighting moves by Labor's left to allow gay marriage.
I do not support a change to the Marriage Act. The Marriage Act defining marriage as it does as a union between a man and a woman.
And she's even allowing the US to station 2,500 Marines at a base in Darwin.
It is a new agreement to expand the existing collaboration between the Australian Defence Force and the US Marine Corps and the US Air Force.
The left-wing politician who once thought we were too subservient to the US was this week so warm, so kissy, so huggy, so adoring with the US President that it should have made the Greens and the rest of the left gag. What a change from when Labor was led by Mark Latham and bashing the US was popular on the left.
Mr Howard and his government are just yes-men to the United States. There they are, a conga line of suckholes on the Conservative side of Australian politics.
And what a change from when Labor was led by Kevin Rudd, fighting uranium sales to India and running anti-nuclear scare campaigns. Two things. One, Gillard realises she doesn't need the Greens after all. She needs the Conservative voters who always decide elections, and the more the Greens attack her, the better. Two, the responsibilities of leadership does tend to make Conservatives of people of the left, even of Gillard. Julia Gillard may be switching from the left to the right, but no one could say that of Senator Doug Cameron, a former union leader and a convener of Labor's left. Doug Cameron, thanks for joining me. What do you make of the Prime Minister saying yes to selling uranium to India, yes to US forces in Darwin and no to gay marriage? Is that smart politics or a sellout?
Well, I'm a bit bemused. I don't think those issues actually fit with the left tradition within the Labour Party. Certainly on equal marriage, I take the view if someone loves another person, then get them into marriage. I mean, I would have thought Conservatives would have been saying get people into marriage. On selling uranium to India, I think it's a breach of the Non-Proliferation Treaty, and I think it is a sellout of everything we've stood for as a party over the last 40 years.
But it seems part of a deliberate strategy, doesn't it, to go from the left to the centre? I mean, you can also add Julia Gillard's extra support for Israel and, of course, for offshore processing of boat people.
Well, it's about political positioning, I think. It's not about the issues that are in play, and I've made my view clear about that. I don't like it. I don't think it's the right thing to do. I think when the Labour Party has values and principles, we should stick to them. We should put an anchor down now and again on some of the issues that we believe in and stop getting driven off the first time there's a whisper of a wind.
Well, it seems like Conservatives like me are winning and the left like you are losing. I mean, this seems to me, is it cynical or is it really something that Julia Gillard feels?
Well, you have to ask the Prime Minister that. She must feel that it's the right thing for her to do, and I'm not going to be too critical of the Prime Minister. She's doing a great job in a whole range of areas. We need to ensure that we focus on the big issues for this country, and that's jobs. That's making sure that work choices doesn't come back again. It's making sure that families get looked after. They're the big issues.
Well, that's true, but Kevin Rudd, on the night before he was removed, of course, by Julia Gillard and the faction bosses, did warn about a lurch to the right. Is that what we're seeing?
Oh, look, I think there has been this inexorable move to the right. I'm not happy with it. I'm just about to go to a conference where there's over 100 delegates from all over the country coming in to talk about the policy platform for the party. I'm sure there'll be lots of criticism of some of the proposals that are being put forward.
Well, you're going to lose almost certainly on gay marriage. You've lost on the US base issue, or base, non-base, whatever it's called. What do you need Julia Gillard now to give to the left? What's your next demand?
Well, I don't think it's a trade-off agenda. We're not giving in on anything yet. I'm sure the conference today will take some principled positions to say that we should fight for marriage equality, that's a Labour principle, that all Australians should be treated the same. We will fight against expanding uranium exports to India, a country that's been in 3 wars in recent times. We don't want to do that, and we will fight for that. We're not giving up yet. We'll go in and fight at the conference for these Labour principles, principles that should be guiding the Labour Party.
But you're going to lose on all that. I mean, where's your last-ditch demand?
Oh, there's no last-ditch demands, and can I say I'm used to losing debates and arguments in the Labour Party. It won't be the first time I'll lose, and it probably won't be the last. But there needs to be a strong voice on the left. I think it was Harold Wilson that said the Labour Party needs a left wing and a right wing to fly. And you just have to have voices on the left to make sure that we don't go completely to the right, because we couldn't have the party being full of Andrew Bolts.
I might even vote for it again, might work for it again. But Doug, it's interesting, isn't it? You've seen Julia Gillard go to the right, you've seen Kevin Rudd go to the left. I mean, he seems to be now the natural candidacy to the left, appealing to it on Israel, and of course not being consulted on selling uranium to India as well. I mean, is Kevin Rudd emerging as the natural voice of the left in the Labour Party, bizarrely?
Yeah. I hope not. No, I don't see Kevin as the natural voice of the left. But, you know, there are issues that, you know, I would agree with the Foreign Minister in relation to, and there would be areas I would agree with the Prime Minister. There would be areas I would disagree, and I tend to think you're better actually being honest with yourself and being upfront and actually making those differences known to the individuals, and that's what I tend to do.
Good on you, Doug Cameron. Thank you very much for joining me.